going on, you two world? We got some 2025 Topps Chrome Fanatic Sapphire Logan Paul Michael Rubin edition we're going to sell tonight. Steve's going to...
Dave must have got a raise.
Wrong.
Well, that's the only way that would ever be opened here.
No, 2025.
Still.
So, Steve, Vincenzo, Michael, IRP 195. Sometime in September, Ryan Neal will be on. At least Ryan will. I got to get back to him. I haven't even gotten back to him. When I sent Steve earlier, we had a chance to get tickets to the game tonight, Cards and Brewers. Again, anytime you can do that, do it.
Yep.
So he's taking that game, and I don't know if it's family, I don't know if it's just him, or whatever it is, doesn't matter. He's enjoying a game, which I wish I could do a lot more of. So even though he's gallivanting all over the world, and the world being the United States,
it'll be a perfect night at the stadium too, because we're the high today was like 80.
It's beautiful nice there right now, and that was the thing too, because
yeah,
Leon and I practiced earlier, and it was super nice. And I'm like, this is like, if it could be like this all year, perfect.
Yeah,
nice breeze, cloudy. Like, fuck that sun. Stay behind clouds. I don't need to. I can feel your warmth from behind the clouds.
Yep, I'm gonna go to the driving range tomorrow on my lunch because it's gonna be nice. It's supposed to starting Saturday, it's supposed to start getting back in like 96, 98.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the weekend.
Perfect, Vinny.
Yeah, it was the coolest day so far this week at 101, but the heat index was 111.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed the 100-degree heat, at least after today, is supposed to be gone. Still upper 90s, which means the humidity is probably still going to be shit because of the 10-degree heat disparity as far as it. Because yesterday we hit either 105 or 106. Hottest day of the year. Not sure if we broke the record yesterday or not. But the heat index was like 109. So it wasn't a drastic difference. Today, not so much. Really fucking hot.
Why are you the way you are?
We've got a doggo.
Yeah, once I start talking, it gets her up and going around. It's like, oh, you must be wanting to talk to me.
Yes.
Because she was curled up in her bed over here until I started talking.
So some quick housekeeping. I know it's early. We will repeat this later, probably multiple times throughout the show, just in case. We hate to disappoint you, but we'll disappoint you early. No show next week. You're gonna have to deal without the IRP next week. So sorry. I know you're disappointed. I hope you were all sitting down, because if not, I know I just gave you all a heart attack. Dave will be on vacation. Out of pocket. Finally getting to do his camping trip. So yeah, no show next week. The following week, it still has not been finalized, but the following week show will probably be on Wednesday. It should be our annual NFL preview show with Brad. So we don't typically have as many viewers during that episode, but always one of my favorite shows of the year, only because Brad just knows his shit. And then hopefully the week after we'll have Ryan and Neil back. That's the plan. Yeah, I doubt it. Orlando, I think you'll live. I think you'll survive. Paul, that's never a thing here. Come on, you know better. So yeah, that's where we are. Next week, no show. I will post I will do a community post, just so everybody has or sees the notification. Hopefully at some point, maybe Dave and Vinny can figure out what hockey sets are going to be part of the survey. We're actually going to do some hockey for the next little episode of Show Some Cards. So they still have to figure that out. But Patreon, yeah, that's not a thing either. If you haven't noticed, Paul, like, we don't even joke about it anymore because it's kind of lost its luster, to be honest. It was quite humorous and funny early on, but not so much anymore. But I at least wanted to get that out there just so everybody was aware, everybody knows. Doesn't mean that somebody's not going to show up and be like, hey, what's going on here? Really, Paul? Anyways, so that's the housekeeping stuff. Just kind of give you an update of what's going on over the next few weeks. I know Dave usually brings it up, but he's also stuffing his face, which
Correct.
is also the norm these days. We move it 30 minutes, and yet he still finds an opportunity to not stuff his face earlier. But
This
we
is
won't
100% correct because
we won't hold it against you, Dave.
I've been stuffing my face for a long time, and it goes right to my stomach. So
we won't hold it against you. We won't hold it against you. But so yeah, nice job, by the way, on revamping the placeholder and the description on kind of short notice. Nicely done. Not that anybody gives a shit about this topic, but we do have these. Whether or not we'll actually talk about it, that's another situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I could spend 30 seconds and my statement would be done.
I know. And that was the thing. I was like trying to think real quick. I'm like, what's something we haven't talked about that we usually used to that at least can be a placeholder, if nothing else? I'm like, you know what? We used to have sort of quarterly, like that 2021, 2022. It was an easy topic.
Yeah, because we were focused.
We had to focus, and then we didn't have to really think about like, what are we going to talk about this week? How are we going to bring this? How is this subject going to like sort of like ebb and flow? It's what are we picking up? What are we doing differently?
Yep.
I mean, most of you all that are in here or watch at any point in time, live or in the archive, know that most of us aren't thrilled with the hobby right now. I mean, they're just the either prices, availability of like either singles, retail, hobby.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just seeing the space littered with the same mutton heads all the time. And I mean, it's just like literally like intestines being drugged from one person and wrapped around another. It's like a bungee cord. And then the next person, it's all the same people. And It's like wash, rinse, repeat. Wash. It's the same shit. You don't have anybody out there, at least in the super mainstream. And again, that this doesn't mean that there isn't any folks like that aren't getting the pub or whatever. But you see the same people saying the same thing, and it just you can't have, as we've mentioned before, the constant droning on about the same stuff. You can't have all good. Yes, but you can't have all bad. You have to have, it doesn't have to even be a 50-50. You can't have a 90-10. You have to have a 60-40, 65-35. And then go back towards the 50-50 to actually have some sort of, in my mind, credibility. I can't hear every fucking post. I can't hear every video. The hobby's great. The hobby's wonderful. The hobby's the best it's ever been. In some regards, I'm sure it is. Because you got people fucking spending stupid amounts of money for hobby opportunities. That's what I'll call those. Like that fanatic.
The space is strong. Like there's no doubt. The space is strong. We've seen growth. You know, last year's national had more people than this year's, but that doesn't mean that it's shrinking. Granted, I haven't seen anything as far as the announced attendance. So like that could be a false narrative. I don't know. Typically by now we would have heard something, I would have thought. And hell, they may be crunching, they still may be crunching the numbers. Maybe it was more than Chicago. Who knows? For the videos that I've watched so far, like the place was fucking packed. Same thing with Chicago. So it's a good possibility that it's very close. Doesn't have to beat records for it to still indicate that the hobby is strong and it's still growing. So that's the one positive. There's still enough people that are allowing the hobby to thrive. Then you have the downside. You know, you have the whole CT scan shit going around and what that's going to do from a breaking perspective, so on and so forth. Like, I haven't bothered to do the research, but I wouldn't think that a CT scanner is cheap.
No.
So, like, I don't foresee that to be the norm for the majority of breakers that do it. So that should kind of reduce the amount of anxiety for individuals who join breaks. For some of your bigger breakers, hell, they may have to.
Asking Google, how much does a CT scanner cost? The average cost for a CT scanner varies significantly depending on the model and features, with prices ranging from $80,000 for basic models up to $300,000 for premium.
Yeah.
See, so there you go.
Thank you, Google.
Is it possible that yes, it's going to have an impact to a certain degree? Yes, but your average breaker is not going to have access to that type of fundage in order to sit there and constantly do that as part of a precursor to any of their breaks.
But Panini and Fanatics will have them on site, so they make sure that way the breakers get the cards they're supposed to.
And that's always a possibility too. I mean, that's something to take into consideration. Like the Breakers Pavilion moving forward for any big regional or national show, they'll have it on site and ensure that what they're providing to some of these bigger name people, there is definitely always that possibility. And you bring up a valid point. You know, it's the manufacturers would be more apt to have that at their disposal than some of the breakers. So for those, and shit, for all we know, maybe they've already had them. Maybe that's why certain breakers have a tendency to get the bigger hits. You know, coincidence, knowing the numbering nomenclature from within the pack outs and everything else, who knows? And that could be, Scott. I mean, and if I can be honest, I think the whole Wayne thing, that's still not an exact science either. Like for jersey cards and patch cards, yes, because those do in fact weigh more. But that's also why manufacturers started putting more decoys in products, so you can't very well know for sure what you're getting. Do decoys weigh less than a patch card? Yes. Are they close? Probably. But there's not an exact science there either. So, uh, and if somebody said there was, my personal opinion, I'd call bullshit. But then again, like I can't say I've never weighed some of the stuff that I've purchased just to kind of see. Been like, okay, looking at this pack looks thicker. Does it weigh a lot more than, another one that looks thicker? But like, it's my own personal stuff. I'm not selling it. I'm not doing anything other than like opening it. So,
But what'd you say? Stuff you've already purchased.
exactly. That's what I'm getting at. It was mine.
I just want to make sure again that that's being
Yes.
said, not like, hey, there's that dipshit from Texas going in the Target and he's got his fucking little scale with him. Like in the parakeet the parakeet cage. No, it's the stuff that Steve has already purchased that he weighs after the purchase and transaction has been finalized.
And it's also mine. It's for me to open at home, and that's where the weighing took place.
It's almost like a MythBusters or trying to something you're trying out yourself, not in public. I just want to make sure that's clear because some
Truth
people
be told, they can interpret however they want to. Honestly, I don't fucking give a shit. I've never sold an unopened product online in the first place, like eBay. Did I used to sell boxes back in the day? 100%. But at that point in time, I would have never thought to do that anyways. I was too busy filling fucking orders and opening shit. Like, I would have never had time in the first place because it was live. Order came in, box was pulled, confirmed payment received, opened. Like, the only time the scale ever made an appearance, and it never made one, is when I was packaging and shipping.
Yep.
And at that point in time, a lot of it was small priority mailboxes, so I didn't even have to worry about weighing them. So, but anyways, people can interpret, people can make inferences. I don't give a shit. Like, people want to start some drama, some bullshit, some rumors, go for it. Thank you, Dave, for thinking of me, but at this point, I really don't give a shit.
Well, and
I
again,
really
if you
don't.
want to start shit, we'll be at the National next year, and please come up to us instead of standing in the corner mean mugging.
But it again, going back to what I was bringing up, we know the hobby is strong. It's evident with the attendance at these shows. You know, we get a small snippet of some of the money that's changing hands. The best card, the Babe Ruth back card.
And plus, that box had that, and I can't remember, it was the Cardinals pitcher, the Marion whatever, had a fucking stupid, like the Cardinals, like the beak, something a patch for like 5 or the 3 or 8.
Was it the Cardinals or the Orioles? I think it was the Orioles.
I think it's the Cardinals. I thought if you go back, and I don't know, I won't be young or anything. So, but it was that I remember.
It's there. So I posted that. So Joe, if you go to my channel and do a sort for videos and sort by most viewed, the title is like the most epic box break ever or some shit like that. It's got a shit ton of views.
I swear
And
it's Marion, and it's, I keep wanting to say Motley, and I know it's not. That's the wrong sport. Marion
I don't-
something.
I don't remember, but the patch is freaking. That patch was through the
Stupid.
roof. Like, I mean, that old wool patch. So like you knew it was from old ass jersey.
Wool and shit.
But yeah, there was a lot. Like, truth be told, that was the best card pulled, hands down, was the Babe Ruth back card. And at the time, I think it booked for like $300, which was big during that time, because even in our prime days of opening product, $300 for a card was pretty significant. Now it's like mainstay. It's
That's
common.
dumb footage.
But like I pulled a dual Nadal Roger Federer autograph.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other ones. What was that, Michael?
That's a massive card.
Oh, 100%. And sadly, like I didn't record like the blog shows. I tried to do some recaps from time to time. I didn't always do it, only because I was trying to make sure that I got stuff packaged quickly and out the door. But that hands down the Babe Ruth card, but the dual auto was probably my favorite. And I was trying to think, it was Adam. Is it Adam? Iowa 49ers, man. Why can I not think of what his freaking YouTube name was? He collected Rodman. Come on, Dave. Help me out here. 49ers
Rodman?
guy. Super collected Dennis Rodman.
Oh, I can picture him.
So can I. And I'm sure Michael remembers him too. But you're not, like, you would draw a blank on the name anyways. But Iowa 49ers was his girlfriend, fiance, whatever at the time. iClub 500.
Yes.
But it was a lot of fun doing it. A lot of nice stuff was pulled, but hands down the Babe Ruth. And it is on a video. Not pulled live. It was one of the recap videos, but it's there. So feel free to go watch it. Last I checked, I had like well over 10,000 views or something. It's my most viewed video ever.
And the thing with that, when Steve says he wanted to, you don't have the time for a recap. You don't have the multiple platforms we do now. We had blog, we had YouTube. Facebook hadn't had any of their miraculous things. There wasn't Facebook Live, so you couldn't like multi-tier this to like different platforms. And then if you were doing breaks, then you had to get your shit out quick, because that would get around quickly. It wasn't a huge, like an ocean-sized circle like it is now in the hobby space, where maybe some of that news travels in just like a little island here. When somebody's like, hey man, I got stuff from Steve, I bought something from Bob, it hasn't come in yet, and it's been like a week, and there's no holiday or no storms, or like, okay, that's usually okay, like what's going on, and everything cool, everything kosher. I just had to, whatever the case may be. But then that starts trickling quickly through, hey, Scott's on blog, we're just BSing PMs. Hey, I got that stuff from Steve 2 weeks ago and nothing in the mail yet. That shit would go quick, and then we've seen it many a time with people we've talked about back in the day. Once you had somebody do something like that, it's a death knell. You're done.
Yeah.
You try to sell again, it's like, well, nobody's gonna fucking care because hey, there's enough people out there. Somebody's gonna be the guy that says on the video, "Hey, mystery pack's coming." Like, I didn't get my shit from last time.
Yeah. It would
And
never fail.
Yeah.
Never fail.
So it's you had to get your shit out as much as everybody wanted to see. Fuck, I missed it. I had to work. I had a sporting event. Kids had something going on. Family emergency. Just I fell asleep. I wanted to see, not recorded. And that was like one of the downfalls of blog, where I wish they would have had more of that stuff. We could go back and archive.
Well, because you could download it and then upload to YouTube.
Yeah.
But that was still a pain in the ass because any of your any shows that you recorded on blog stayed on blog.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, once they got rid of blog, all that shit went away.
Yep.
But like I never thought about it because while I was doing it, almost everybody that purchased stuff from me, I knew, and they knew me. So it wasn't like I was selling to random people because, you know, I had Ryan and Neil taking the orders while on blog, message me, they say payment sent. I go verify that payment was sent. And then it was like, let me know when you're ready. And I would just go. Outside of those that wanted the stuff shipped sealed.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it during that time, it was I won't say a newfound respect for like Chris, because mine was on a smaller scale. I went live 2 nights a week, averaged probably 8 to 12 boxes, give or take, during an evening. Probably the average. I don't even know for how long I did it. Probably a couple months. And then it just got to the point to where it's like, not that, I mean, a lot of people like purchased like the better stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, there was still decent stuff there, but everybody wanted hits. And some of the products, there weren't guaranteed hits. So it was, you know, mid-90s basketball, mid-90s football, you know, stuff along those lines that had badass inserts and expensive ass fucking cards if you pulled one, but it didn't have the autos and the jerseys and the patches. I did pull a Jerry Rice out of National Chickle. I don't remember who that was, but I pulled a Jerry Rice. I think that's in one of the recap videos. But again, you know, like I said, my favorite was the dual auto of Federer Nadal, because that card was just, it was fucking badass. I think numbered to 25 or whatever. Just a sick fucking card, man. And the 2 top guys at the time, other than Djokovic, but Djokovic was just kind of starting out. So like Nadal and Federer were the 2 top guys at that point in time.
And early on in his career, Djokovic, he was known for crying and quitting all the time. He would always get injured somehow for whatever reason and pull out of stuff. It seemed like he broke through a mental hurdle on that at some point and then just went on to win, you know, more majors than anybody else.
Marty Marion for the Cardinals, Dave.
That's
courtesy of Lowest Wrong.
I could picture him because I know I've got like a Donruss Classics, maybe like an 05, I think the one you pulled was in 03. I think. And again,
0304, but again, the product itself was the last year for Donruss having like the MLB license.
well, then that would have been 05.
And well, it was coming up on the end of the license because DLP was eventually they were kind of going away. That's when Panini came around and bought like Donruss Playoff, give or take around that time. So they loaded up some of those products, and that happened to be one of the products that they loaded. And that, like, as the I still wish I would have recorded that live, because I saved the Babe Ruth for the end. Because as I was opening the product and I saw low number type situation, like I saved it. So like I opened and I set it aside. I was like, we're gonna finish going through this box. I think we have a huge card coming. And lo and behold, it was the Ruth back card. So I made sure that recap video happened because that was just fucking awesome. Selling random boxes and something like that comes out. Believe it or not, I actually ended up, and this has been a few years back. I don't even know how long. Like somebody actually had the nerve to post a comment. Really? That's only like a $300 card. Delete. I'm like, fuck off, man. Like, really?
I remember when I didn't own a single $300 card.
Well, it's right there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, $300 for a card at that point in time was not even a thing for me.
No.
So, and, you know, there was a lot of Babe Ruth relics and stuff around that time, so it's not like it was super rare. But even then, there's not many now, so a lot of them are tucked away in collections. That stuff does appreciate over time for something of that level. Not saying that it's, $5,000, but even if it's $1,200-$1,500, he paid $100 for the box.
Yeah.
Pretty good ROI, man.
Yeah, when you're getting 3 times, and again, not saying it's going to sell for 300 even back then, but a lot of that stuff, when that started popping off, when you started getting like Clemente, Robinson, Williams, Ruth, more Mantle, I mean, you're Mays, Aaron, when you were getting those guys, it's like, you don't have to sit there and be a savant of the game or sports in general. You can be Joey Schlub down the corner. And hey, I remember this. I remember whatever. I watched Sandlot. I watched all this stuff. I know Mickey Man. Well, Christ, Babe Ruth has a candy bar, basically.
Baby Ruth.
So you just, it's a part of when Donruss had this under, when they couldn't make anything else with the logos, when you had the Americana. That's what it is. It's Americana. You know Marilyn Monroe. You know JFK. You know the Berlin Wall, even though it's not Americana. You know stuff that's something in the world that happened where you can sit there, and if you're alive, if you're over 40 years old or 35 years old, I remember where I was when this event happened. I know these people not from a fucking sale at a golden auction, but because This Week in Baseball would show stuff. You remember all these things, and that was like when you had said, because I remember that. Like, I think we've got a massive cut. I don't know who it is, but I think it is something huge.
And that's yep, and that's the only regrets that I have, not recording those. And then like just downloading them off a blog and putting them somewhere, not necessarily uploading them. But I never had issues with anybody, saying that I scanned them or anything along those lines. It's open shit on Wednesday. I did my best to have shit shipped out and out the door by Friday, because Saturday was the next show. And again, and I've talked about this, 7 and 8 hours spending packaging and shipping and top loading and sleeving cards on a Sunday. A lot of fucking work, man. So, Bob, I don't know when you were, selling some of your stuff on Instagram, when you would post a lot of stuff, and if you happen to sell quite a few cards, you could understand sometimes the amount of time it took even to package 7, 8, 9 cards.
Yeah. I never had much. I never ended up having much success on Instagram, but my slabs I did, and what I found to be true was when I would post like 30 or 40 cards, if they didn't move like that evening, or even within a day or two, they would tend to sit there for a minute. And then sometimes if I would post more, that would bring people to like what other things that you had, and it might, some people might pick up something that has been sitting there for a while. But through that, people have their ways of like, you're not supposed to like give out your emails or this or that. But once you make a purchase, then like through PayPal, you have an email. And I had somebody reach out to me directly and said, "Hey, I noticed you have these 4 or 5 cards. I just bought this card from you. You have like 3 or 4 others that I'm interested in. Would you be willing to do something offline?" So you sort of test the water with a lower end deal, but he was selling on WhatsApp, so he was interested in like what more bulk purchases, because I've never been on there, but I guess you kind of go through, you can kind of make little lots and go through them pretty quick. So I was able to move. I think one deal was like a few hundred cards, but even that, you can't just put 100 cards in a box. You got to bag them in by 20 of cards, and then some are just $1, $2, $3 cards, so you can just sleeve those, put them between cardboard and put them into a bag. And then, but other stuff needs bubble wrap. You got to have boxes. You got to have all the stuff you need, filler. So yeah, it's a process for sure, man. And I was only selling to one guy, kind of getting one package ready, and as a father of 3 kids. And just limited time as it was, you had to prioritize for sure, or just stay up late to do it. And you made it. I made it work, because I didn't want to. I mean, regardless of the fact that there's no way like he could put me on blast if I messed up or something, like, because there was no real place to do that. It would have just. I wanted him to come back to buy more, and that sort of helped us through 2023 in a lot of ways.
Well, it's a sense of pride. It's a sense of pride, though, too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I go back to that. Like, these cards are, they're just sitting in a box. And yeah, maybe they'll appreciate, maybe they'll depreciate, but they weren't doing me or my family any good, just kind of sitting there in boxes. So, it's not like I got rid of everything, but when you had, being a fortunate enough position to have a little surplus of things, and then I could buy some things that I wanted to add to my collection, plus like pay some bills. So it was like a win-win all the way around. And I still have his contact information, just where life has me right now. It's just not haven't been able to do a deal with him for a little bit, but I could see myself reaching back out once I'm in a better spot to maybe make a deal.
Well, I mean, we've made some deals. So we've made some deals.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And it's hard in that sense to be a collector, but then also be a seller.
Yeah, selling to friends is
that's different. That's different.
Yeah, but because you want to give a friend a good deal. A friend also wants to pay fair price. Doesn't want to feel like they're, getting charity. It's like a fine line there, but
it's a
I'll
give
take
and
charity.
Coming from the person who drops, $400 and $500 on a card, you don't need no damn charity, Michael.
To pay for therapy.
Nah, you're not quite there yet. You're getting close, but you're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, years ago, I was a silver power seller, and I listed 30 to 50 cards every Sunday. So of course they all end on Sundays, having to send invoices, sometimes payments would trickle in going into, Wednesday, Thursday. But, I tried to be proactive in those situations where it's like, okay, this one person bought 10 cards. I've sent them an invoice. Yeah, they haven't paid yet. I'm going to go and at least get it packaged and ready. Where I haven't sealed the bubble mailer, but I've printed the summary page and I've packaged everything. So all I have to do is basically seal it and then weigh it and print the label and on its way. But even that was easier than doing live box breaks because everybody had their specific requirements. My thing was all hits, so all jerseys and autos, all inserts, all parallels, all rookies. That is what I shipped. That was a guarantee. So if you opened a box, or if I opened a box of, let's say, 2007 or 2008 Topps Chrome football, you got all the inserts, all the refractors, all the rookies. The only thing I didn't ship was the base cards. Same thing with basketball. Unless somebody wanted Jordan or wanted Kobe. So I would try and be cognizant of that as I'm opening stuff so I could put everything in their specific stack. Because I didn't want to have to go looking back through a bunch of base cards to make sure that I pulled everything out. Because
how many breaks would you say you did? Well, maybe twofold. How much prep and thinking ahead, maybe watching people do it, did you think, okay, this is the way I'm going to do it? And then how long before you were a well-oiled machine? Does it take a week, 10 breaks in, you're boom, 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 you know what I mean? Or right away, did you kind of just find your groove?
So I had an idea of the way I wanted to do it. Was it the best way? There's not the best way. There's not the right way. There's not the wrong way.
Yeah,
it's what works best for the individual. So, because I opened a lot of stuff myself, I had a shit ton of decoys. So, when somebody purchased something and I was opening it, I would put their YouTube name on a decoy. and I would open the product, show off the cards and everything else. I'd put their stack, and then I'd put their decoy on top of the stack, so I knew that was their stuff. If they ordered something else that evening, I just added it to the stack. That was the easiest way for me. Could I have done it easier, better, or faster? Probably. But again, like, I knew everybody who was ordering stuff. The only time I didn't do that is if I knew somebody was purchasing stuff sealed.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything was done as goods. So, like, none of this was friends and family. So, like, whatever they were ordering, it was in the description. I knew exactly what it was. I could still cross-reference it. I knew their name. I knew it was associated to a specific YouTube name. So there was no issues with me mixing shit up. That answers your question, Joe. I wasn't even responding to your question, but since you put your question up there, yes, I knew everybody. Because remember, at that point in time, almost all of us knew each other. Almost everybody knew each other through other contacts. Like Ryan and Neil would always post on Wednesday and Saturday because they had a bigger following than I did, basically promoting that I was going live with the boxes.
And there was live chat, right? Like, yes. There was live interaction.
Yeah, like this, just through Blog TV. So Neil created the website. I provided the list of all the products and the prices. He got it all uploaded on the website. The only problem is there was no decrementing from the website. So it wasn't like they could go in and add something to the cart type situation.
Mm.
So I would have to provide an updated sheet so we could update the counts. Because, of course, as boxes were sold, the counts needed to be dropped, right? Because if not, we're providing incorrect information and been like, hey, somebody wants to order. Oh, yeah, we don't have that.
Right.
So knowing everybody helped. Having Blog TV to where you had, was it 4 or 5 private messages? Michael, Dave?
4.
Was it 4? So I always had one tab open for Ryan because he was feeding me the information. And it would never fail that there would be other people pinging me, asking, and it's like, okay, stop. That's when I had to sit there and just say, hey guys, like, if you're wanting to order something, as much as I want to, interact, and like, I can't. Message Ryan, message Neil. They've got the information. They have the prices. They'll verify it against the website. They have my PayPal address. Like, please, because it got to the point to where not only was I'm dealing with private messages, people were, hey, Steve, I want to order. And it's like too much going on. Like, when we get 17 and 18 people in here and there's a lot of chat going on and stuff along those lines, sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. But multiply that by 2 during a live blog show for 2 and 3 hours constantly. Like, there was no way for me to keep up with it all. So, Ryan, I got my commission through the shop that I did it through. I halved my commission with Ryan and Neil. They're helping me. They're doing this. They ended up getting half of my commission. So it was a win-win for both of us. Plus, if we wanted to purchase stuff ourselves, we got it less than what I was charging per the shop owner. So all the boxes were 10% cheaper than any other listed available website, minus eBay. That was what I was allowed to sell stuff for. So if the cheapest was $100, 10% off of that, I was selling them for 90. We got an extra 20% off of that if we wanted to purchase. So I used a lot of my money, a lot of my commission money to buy some of boxes that I've always wanted to open, which is why I have certain basketball sets, is because of that. And to complete the Leaf certified Mirror Gold sets, that's where a lot of those cards came from, funds from selling. So a lot of money exchanging hands during those evenings sometimes.
And Joe,
It was,
I'm going to jump in and finish this and then finish that thought. Berlin Wall has that relic card in Topps American Pie. I think from, is it 03, 04, somewhere in there. Might be 05, 06, but it's.
I'll take your word for it.
I know there's like a little chunk or a little grain of salt type situation. Sort of like what they did with the Top Stadium Club dirt for like the pitching mound or whatever it was. And I don't even remember when 08, 09 when they came back for that. But
Makes sense.
just to button that up.
Yeah, too bad Big Smooth wasn't here. He could have answered that question like really fast.
And I'm sure they've got something in them. Allen and Ginter too. I'm sure there's something. A mini of some sort.
No, the only other thing I was going to say was, so I had to pay the shop owner his cut every Sunday. It was a cool sight to see your PayPal balance at a pretty significant amount of money during that time. And no, I'm not going to tell you because it's nobody's business. But to sit there and watch it deplete almost immediately when having to send the payment was kind of disheartening.
Yeah.
You go from, and this is not, I'm not giving this as a legitimate number, but you go from seeing $10,000 in there to only seeing $2,000. Because remember, my commission was 20%. And then half of that would then go to Ryan. But it was a win-win. Got to open some stuff I never got to open. Again, I was able to acquire stuff to complete the 2 sets that I was working on. I got to open product for myself that I normally wouldn't get to open. I'm sure the dealer would have really hoped to have held on to the EX 2000 because I think he still had like 7 or 8 boxes left. Kobe year, and I know we ended up selling them on eBay for almost nothing, and I think they're like $1,200 now, $1,400 now. But hindsight's 20/20, right? As we say. But I guess we can touch on the topic. We're coming up on an hour. I had no goals this year, so I'm done.
That wasn't even 30 seconds.
I don't know if Michael made any goals and if he actually shared on past.
I don't believe I shared anything on here. I don't know if they were goals. What I intended to do is buy nice cards of Rogers and Favre, and then other cards that I like. That was the extent of that.
So pretty much the same thing almost every year. You just actually executed on it more so this year than what you have in past years.
Pretty much.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But at least you've been following through with them.
I've been trying to give people money for the last couple months, and I have not landed anything big of Favre or Rodgers. I can't.
I guess your money's not good enough.
I'm very picky on what I want now, and even though there are a couple cards out there that are for sale, I've offered very, very strong on them, and people just won't take any kind of money off that they put best offer, but they sure as shit don't seem like they want to take less than $1 off type thing. Because there's a Rodgers on eBay that I've exhausted my I think I might have one offer left on it, but they have it listed $999.99, and I've offered $750 and not even hit with a counter, just declined. And that's disheartening.
Well, and that, like, to me, that's a fair offer.
Yeah.
But, and we've talked about this though too, and this is something that I think agitates a lot of us. If you're going to put a best offer on a listing, like, unless it's just stupid lowball type situation, at least put a counter.
Yeah.
Because then you're at least opening the lines of communication. And if your offer of $750 wasn't decent enough for them to just like have them decline, put a minimum offer threshold.
Right. Yeah. Auto decline.
Quit wasting people's time to sit there and be like, what the fuck, man? I thought that was a pretty decent offer. Like, am I in the ballpark? Am I off by $250 because they think they're going to get $1,000? Like,
yeah, the $750 offer exhausted its 24 hours.
See, and
how long's that card been listed?
Quite a while.
So even, I mean, that just plays even more to the absurdity of it. Like, if a card's been on there for a month.
Yeah, it's been over a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've got cards that are on my watch list that have literally been on my watch list for over 5 years, and the price never changes. And at this point, it isn't even a card that I want. I just leave it on there in case somebody actually pays it. Because it's the guy I used to see anytime I went to Chicago for National, he would be set up. But it was J-Man was what he went by. And always has stuff priced, 50 to 100% more than what it should be. And They don't put best offer. It's just a buy it now price. And it just sits there. But I don't know.
So at least it wasn't Daps Man.
The other one that I see that with all the time, well, there's actually two. One I remember from the boards, I mean, pre-Freedom cardboard. So this was like about running parallel with Beckett. It was Jimmy Wolfrey, who's a guy I think who's out in Maryland. He had some decent stuff back in the day, but it was always like if you were at a card show and you sat there and you're like pretty much battling the good and the bad of like purchasing the card. Like, well, it's numbered to 10, but you haven't seen it, but it's probably about 40 to 50 bucks more, but you haven't seen it. That's a lot of money, but you want it and you haven't seen it. So you're sitting there doing that. And there's another one. As soon as I say the name, I know Michael will remember. What's up, Rick? Jada Rock.
Oh man, I ain't heard that name in a long time.
That
Neither
douchebag
have I.
Gary.
What?
Or Gary, what's up, Gary? 05 finest printing plate auto of Gaduli. That tops a $40 card. That motherfucker's been up for, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. 99.99.
That's
Like,
isn't he? Wasn't he the Mark Brunel collector?
yep.
Yeah, that guy sucked, and clearly, and obviously still does.
He was just a guy that
Or he,
it was one where if you had a Brunel that he needed, and especially if it was 8 of whatever, because the Brunel jersey number, he would be a hound.
Yeah.
Trying to get it, trying to like work over a deal, trying to get something to his face. When you would see on like the blowout or on the Beckett boards, he wouldn't fucking budge a penny for anyone else, and he's expecting this, and people just call him on it, be like, man, you
yeah,
don't fucking work with anyone. Why would anyone ever work with you? You can't be sitting there and like, well, I'm the Brunel collector. Like, that's great. I know that. But if I could have been 8 to something like a cool patch, ooh, I wouldn't even mention him. Because he is just one of those guys where he thinks because he collects someone, there should be that automatic discount. And he wouldn't stretch out a half an inch to save you from falling off a cliff. So
Well, that's that entitlement thing again.
I knew a couple people who would purposely get super rare Brunel cards that he wanted and would just keep them. Would not let him have them because he was that way.
Is one of those guys around Chicago, because I know he'd do that with a couple of players, like lives near Gary, or he's got an automotive shop, or his dad does. Michael, is that one of the people that would maybe do that?
Yep.
Out of spite. I remember that. I remember those days. So.
Yep. He's that level of petty. To this day. We were talking earlier today about some stuff like that. He's probably the guy I talk to most about cards on pretty much it's a daily basis.
I'd be that asshole and tell the guy $500. Oh, that's your price.
Yep.
You want it? There you have it. If not, it can sit here and collect dust.
Turns out I like owning it and you not owning it more than I want $500.
That brings me more satisfaction than the $500.
Yep.
So back to goals, Dave. Since you never made a goals video, like you said you were going to.
No, this is one of the rare years, but again, we're trying to maneuver with things. I knew it'd be different with like the previous year I'd made goals, but then I didn't know about like Naomi taking the softball as well as she did, as much as she did. So then the card budget basically May, June, July, August is pennies, nickels, maybe a couple dimes. Just because, again, car repairs, car upgrades, all that shit fucking nearly financially ruined, as one would say.
You'll never financially recover.
No, never. So I look so infrequently at the players I collect. I mean, I said I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Like I looked at Brodeur and Lindros for the first time in I don't even know how long. Like well over a month and a half, 2 months. And it's not because I don't want to pick their cards up. It's just the money that I want to spend or dedicate to that isn't there, and there's just no desire to like push some chips over that way. Push some chips over that way. I'll push chips this way right here. I'll keep pushing chips with that, but I just don't want to sit there and it's almost more of a fleeting satisfaction when I get something for me. Now, when I buy stuff for others, that's when I get more excited. I mean, I've got a couple cards that have come in over the years.
I don't believe you.
Did you get your Dumba? You haven't gone to the post office yet?
No.
Okay, it's been delivered.
Okay. It's like and even then, it used to be I have to hit the post office after work. I'm like, if I see like 2 cars there, I just keep on driving. Like I don't want to deal with people. No, not today. And or if there's not a spot on like the street instead of like the avenue gets clogged up. The street I can just like pull it off, and then it's like right back into traffic, and I'm done. If it's not open, I'm like, don't care. All the bills come to the house. All the cards and other stuff goes to the PO box. So, but it's stuff where it's like very little is exciting. Like one now that I will make a run at it because that's probably the most I've been excited since that Bowman Red that I completely forgot about because there was a softball game going on, and looked at it about an hour and a half later. I said, I knew I forgot something, and I saw the price, and I just wanted to run in front of the semi to see if it went. So it's the Josh Johnson stuff will always that, and if it's like a rarer North cut, I was thinking about that too, and we've been talking like when you're talking about the $300 cards, paying $100 for a card. It's like the first one was a McCown SP Authentic RPA in 04, end of March, early April 04 when he was named the starter. Because I was speculating on him, and I'm like, I liked him like coming out of the draft, and I thought he had a chance, and Arizona's been just a destitute haven for fucking football, so maybe he can turn it around there. But like Northcutt would have been probably one of the second cards they paid $100 for. Like either one of the Spectrum SPX patch or the Jersey Auto or a rookie premier photo shoot. The out of tops, the auto to 25. So going back to those, it's like you didn't have $100 cards that we were buying. Now it's commonplace, and I don't like that either because I always try to equate it in value of something else, and I can usually talk myself out of those purchases. Now I can't.
Well, yeah,
Previously, I could. It's like
because you used to always leverage for as much as a blaster. This is, and of course, some blasters continue to go up in price, which is going to be.
But I mean, for $25-$30, you're like, okay, if that's there's a Doug Williams game use patch to 20 to $30, like, I'm not passing that up.
Yeah,
that's
he doesn't have a whole lot of stuff out there either.
But I mean, that just a just an
No,
example.
I know, but that's a good example because a lot of people don't realize that maybe he doesn't have a lot of stuff out there though either. So for something like that, 100%.
I wish that Daryl Green I bought was only $30.
Well, but that's
so
the thing.
in other words, sorry, Dave. Go ahead. My bad.
I'll wrap it up with. It's so much easier for me to sit there and say, well, I want to pay for a trip to Tristan. We want to do something, or I want to throw in on that. Help with the camping payment for for next year. Get her something for her birthday. Get something for Naomi for her birthday, or hey, she needs new cleats. I don't have to sit there and try to figure something out. I bought 3-4 cards that are $60 each. Now how am I going to sort of finagle around that because she needs the cleats right now because there's trash or whatever the case may be. I'd rather be able to not sit there and just buy frivolously. Spend, hey, here's a $20 on a card, here's $30 on a card, here's 15, here's 50, just so there's something coming in the mail. I've had enough years of that. There's been shit coming in the mail. If you look at a lot of those videos I got from the auction Facebook pages, you want to fucking see fun videos, go look at that shit. And that's sort of my cup runneth over from that, and now I just try to go the other way. I want to save, give back to whatever other entity I can, and then, I've shared with some of you, I'd rather have Christmas for you guys to have more fun and put you on the spot for maybe hours and hours instead of, hey, look, I got another Brodeur auto to 80. Would I like to fill out the list? Absolutely. I didn't write the list to just write the list. I wrote the list because I wanted to eventually scratch it off. But when stuff doesn't come around or it's just stupidly priced, why bother? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to buy for the sake of buying or being some fucking 10-watt bulb of light and the beacon of the fading YouTube old school community. It's I don't want to do that. I'm if I can generate the funds to something else that matters. Not saying I don't matter, but at the same time, a lot of times I'm I who cares if I get cards? Who fucking cares?
Well,
It's not going to sit there and make my heart full of life and love if I can give, hey, my kid doesn't have to worry about. She gets fucking more clothes for goddamn birthday because I should drop these down because.
No,
but I don't even know who these teams are. I don't know what PV A&M is. Well, that's Prairie View A&M. Now you got a hoodie of Prairie View A&M softball. Tell me somebody above the fucking Mason-Dixon line that even knows what the hell that means. So I said, you're not above the Mason-Dixon line, so shut the fuck up. Know your geography. God damn it. So, stuff like that.
I was just stating the fact that I knew who that
You know what it is.
It had nothing to do with the other part of your statement of the Mason-Dixon line. Bob would like the floor.
No, I just said, Dave says, who cares if I get cards? And I said, I care if you get cards. No, there's plenty of time for the floor for me. I have no goals either, so I'm done.
Well, and I was going to ask if you happen to make anything.
No, I've picked up very few cards this year. An in-person show earlier in the year. Bought a card on eBay, but it's just player collect. What year is this? 2006? Is that 06 finest?
Yep.
Curtis Martin refractor. So this kind of cards like this. that make me happy, that are affordable, and you know, cards
It's
like
not a-
this.
It's not about
That's
how
like,
much it is either. Like that's
yeah,
not.
right.
It's about what
I
makes
mean,
you happy.
that's probably a couple a dollar card, you know, but like this, the
It's
shine
free.
on it's amazing.
It's
Yeah,
free.
or like a pants relic that has actual like, you know, authentication on the back about
Right.
game worn pants, because they probably with Tony Gwynn they probably made a crap ton of pants relics because the dude had an ass on him.
A lot of fabric.
Or
a lot of fabric.
a lot of fabric, you know, stuff like this.
Moss X Fractal.
Oddball stuff. I might have shown these way back when I first got them, but or
No.
just player stuff. You know, this is a Jim Thorpe. Can't really read his name, but something cool like that. My dad loves the Doors, so like I probably have 10 of these, but when I see it for like a quarter, why not? Yeah. So
Again, it's not the amount of money it's not about the amount of money that you're spending.
So this is a Shaq card I probably have a couple of, but what I wasn't really going after back then was probably, I don't know if you can see it, but the members' choice stuff. Like there's a whole bastion of like members' choice, Stadium Club, excellent photography. I mean, look at that photograph, you know.
That's a nice looking card.
Yeah, they're like the division playoffs or the NBA finals, and I mean it's all
like a dream card. I collected Shaq forever, and it took a while before I realized there's a Beam Team like members' choice. That's you can barely see it, so it's like a dream of mine to one day like find one online and they don't list it as a members' choice because they don't know. But like the borderless, this is borderless, right? The other ones had an orange border. So just sort of the next level. Here's what were we just talking about? These.
Oh, the dot matrix.
Yeah. So shiny stuff. If I can pick up like a bigger insert of one of my guys I collect, a couple a year, I mean, I'd be happy. But there's so much in that, like Randy Moss, that it's unbreakable. That's like die cut and shiny from. I think I don't even remember what it's from, but I saw that on an Alico 3 channel on a review, like a pickup video. Like I had never even seen that before, and there was like $8, you know. So there's a lot of cards that I don't have that appeal to me that are in that are under 20. We'll just say that. And then looking for deals. Obviously, you can get like Moss is in the on the card picture. He's in his Vikings uniform, but the jersey is like a Raiders jersey. Like that stuff doesn't bother me, you know. So sometimes you can get better deals on stuff like that. So it's more about being strategic and buying what makes me happy. And yeah, there's a few cards here for other people as well. I mean, that's sort of always like I don't collect Josh Allen, but this Z Team card is pretty sweet. So that'll stay in the collection until maybe one day somebody else comes along that's like a Josh Allen guy, and I got something to send them that I picked up, years ago or whatever. So it's nice to have cards that you're not attached to, but you're happy they're in your collection as they are. But if a new home emerges, then off it goes.
Right. 100%.
So that's my approach hasn't changed all that much. Now, if I sold, if I had some like disposable income from sales, yeah, then I would probably be more seeking something that I wouldn't otherwise be in a position to just grab on a whim. But yeah, once everybody, I do have an update on the as Joe put it, the Bob and Bill excellent adventure stories. So you let me know when story time is good, because I sent you a few
snippets. You gave us a teaser. Yes.
Well, even in the text, like seriously, the dude saddles up beside me and like starts. He's like, "You ever hear that song by the Police, Roxanne?" I was like, "Yeah, classic." He's like, "You
to
ever?"
be continued. To be continued.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
gonna make people wait until we're just about finished with the show.
Yeah,
And we'll give you the platform.
That doesn't even scratch the surface of the main story. It's so unbelievable. Like,
oh, we're all looking forward to hearing
it. Okay. Yeah. So that's my collecting update goals. Just to get my cards back in the next couple months would be a goal. So I can, yeah.
Sometimes they shift, sometimes things get added, sometimes things get removed. So like that's the whole point. They're your goals. Like
absolutely
matter. So, the one person on this show who actually like always writes his shit down and actually pays attention and randomly updates it throughout the year. We're going to give him the opportunity to update his goals. You got 10 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. So we'll let Vinny give his update, and then we'll turn it back over to Bob and let Bob do story time before we wrap up. So everybody knows what's on the docket for the next 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be quicker than that because I lost the paper.
What?
Yeah.
What?
When the kids moved out, this place is chaos in here. I'm back down in the cave, but it is chaos in the cave.
And before anybody says anything about his phone, for whatever reason, it's struggling to actually turn the other way. So that's why he's vertical.
There.
See?
And there. So it is what it is, cuz. It is what it is. I try to get moving with a lot of collections, but some things occurred this year that put me back by several months. Garage doors and other things of that ilk, that unforeseen things, cars, everything, all kinds of crap.
Unforeseen adulting.
Yeah, a lot of adulting that I had to do. So I pretty much said screw it, and I revamped everything. That my total concentration was basically, I'm not buying much for myself. I'm going to concentrate on Christmas, and I am 90% done. I chose a couple people extra this year, and I'm going to try to do that every year. Next year's going to be lean, probably next year after that, because we buy a house, and that shit costs money. And
split everything that you've done this year.
I can't. I can't do that, Steve.
Yes, you can.
I can, but I don't have the ability.
No, you have the ability to do it as well.
Yes, I do. But
you don't want to listen to
no,
reason.
because I'm a stubborn Croatian, Italian, Slovenian, Austrian idiot. So say that 5 times fast.
No.
But thinking back about some of my stuff, I've gotten a fair few Lemieux cards that are outstanding. So I'm not complaining about that. I've organized more stuff than you could shake a stick at. I've used up a lot of my old top loaders, packaging stuff up for Christmas. So I literally used a whole box of this nature for Christmas stuff.
Wait a minute. Okay, we have a problem. You're
But-
sending people used top loaders.
I've made this statement before, and I'll make it this statement again. Tough shit.
Return to sender. Return to sender.
Well, you know what, Steve? If that's the way you want to be, then that's the way you're going to be. But whatever. So I got rid of. I had 3 boxes, top loaders, mags, freaking soft top loaders, whatever they're called. What do you call
card
those?
savers.
Card savers. Thank you. And I used up a whole box about that size, so that was good. Organizing more stuff every day. Every day I get a little bit done, and it's making me feel a lot better than what I was. I almost can see my desk organizing stuff, so that I cleaned off some shelves. The Lemieux collection is I don't have a count. I've decided to reorganize everything, but I'm trying to put together a more comprehensive checklist to cover more stuff. I do have a top 10, which I provided to Mr. The Good Doctor for Expo, of things that people probably wouldn't even think that would be my top 10, but are my top 10. There's stuff missing, but there's some stuff I really, really want to get on that top 10 list. And it's really expensive.
Mirror red, mirror blue, mirror gold.
No, if I looking at this, the Select Mirror Gold for 96.97 is on the list.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's like the only card. There's 2 cards from 15-16, one from 11-12. Panini Titanium. Upper Deck Ingrained, 2 from Clear Cut. Actually, 2 from Ingrained. 2 from Clear Cut, 2 from OPC Platinum. 1's Crown Royal. And 1 UD Fleer Showcase. The 25th anniversary buyback to 25. Those are like, and I'm still working on getting all the jambalayas. So I have 1, 2, I think I have 2 now, possibly 3. I'd have to check. But Lemieux,
sorry,
nothing else is exciting me other than Christmas stuff for people. I've delved back into other hobbies that I enjoy because I got bored of doing cards all the time, and I am enjoying cards more because of it.
Nothing wrong with that.
I enjoy doing all this stuff, and I'm going to continue to do that. And cards are going to take more of a back seat as I obtain the stuff that I really want. I'm starting to be like Michael. I probably won't go to the extent of selling stuff, but it's got to really jump out at me. And I've cut down on buying Octo, whatever you call it, the 26 copy of something. I don't need it, and
only if you love it.
Only if I love it, and I love a lot of cards. So, and then that was that. I got my Van Slyke and my Cervelli stuff from last year. I started putting those in pages. The Steeler rookies and autos, I was getting there. The Hall of Fame project for hockey, I started dabbling in that. And every month I'm grabbing a couple young guns here and there. It's going to take me a long time to do it, but I grabbed a couple here and there, and that's that.
Ooh, that's nasty.
That is nice.
Really, Dave? Is that the one numbered to 2 or something?
There was
3.
There was a Paul Coffey the other night, and if I had the control to freaking put big time money, I'd have bid $40. It was a 3-color, black, gold, and white Paul Coffey card, number to 25, game used jersey or patch, and it was freaking gorgeous. And he's another one of my players I enjoyed watching. But I actually was working on Pat LaFontaine a little bit this year. Is that Bledsoe?
As Staubach.
That's Staubach.
I can't see. I'm looking at, and I know how Dave feels trying to do this on a phone. It sucks. But, so my tirade isn't as long and as detailed as usual. But
So the question is, are we getting any closer to being able to have our conversations related to trade?
it's getting there. It's closer to. I thought it was going to be closer, and well, it didn't. I thought I was going to be able to move some of the stuff that does not belong to me out of here, and I'm yet to be able to do that. So I'm still storing things.
Ooh, I like that.
And well, we had a tournament last weekend. We have a tournament again this weekend. CC won her tournament, so she won her tournament last game-winning save. Just changed the whole momentum of the game. She played amazingly. So we have another tournament this weekend. We got a pro game this weekend, and it's been hectic. And school starts Tuesday.
It's all right. I'm low man on the totem pole. I'm okay with that.
Remember, in the Native American culture, the lowest person on the totem pole is the most important. So that's kind of odd that you say that.
Yeah, but I wasn't referring it in that sense. But thank you. But like,
No,
I'm
well,
not,
that's
He was
how I feel.
referring- He was referring to the shit rolls downhill.
Yeah,
yes,
sort of like that. Mike.
like priorities. I get it. I'm not saying that to make you feel bad. Like,
Yeah,
I get it.
I got so much stuff going on, and then the car. We haven't had our car for 3 weeks. They're trying to figure out there's a leak somewhere that's causing the radio and stuff to short out, and it's just. And we this rental, it's a Palisade, guys. If we don't get what did we have, a Telluride last time?
Yes.
This Palisade's pretty dope. It adjusts, like Steve. If your posture goes bad driving, it will adjust and form fit to your body.
Interesting.
Yes, it's quite nice. I will get that car next year if it is available. I now know the guy that's the dude at Enterprise, and I will rent through him because he's the manager, and he helped us because, of course, we had extend said rental vehicle, and we haven't heard from the dealership since Friday. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get a good idea of when we're going to get our car back, which will be nice.
Well, as long as there isn't a certain something in the console, then I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly. If there's devices. But other than that, it's organizing. I mean, there's going to be a point here where I'm going to call the doctor and say, I'm just going to grab it because these are Lemieux lots. So over the years, I bought lots of Lemieux. So that's just part of the Lemieux lots I got to go through. So I'm going to build my binders, and whatever's left over, I'm basically going to call Joe on same time or FaceTime or whatever the hell you call it one day and say, do you need this? Do you need this? Do you need this? Do you need this? And just when hopefully I get to go to Expo, I'm just going to bring him a big old box. Do you have anything to declare? Joe is all I'm going to say, and you'll have all the stuff. So, and the better half will be happy because I've liquidated cards. So, but every day it's getting better. I worked on it after work tonight till we had to go with C to practice, and then picked up some chicken from Haley. She makes some chicken for us now, so we have meal prep, and went to Best Buy because C will be turning 13 here shortly, and yeah. She's had to get some stuff for her. Yep, she will be a teenager. She's 5'5". She's almost 5'6". She's actually now 5'5" 3/4". So she should be 5'6" within the next month because she's eating like a horse. She's just eating constantly.
and soccer and soccer and soccer and soccer.
Yeah,
That'll do that.
So now all it's going to do is it's going to be basically soccer and school. So she's like, this summer they wanted her, she got accepted to a course to do writing. Only like 2 people in the school. And she's like, I'm like, kid, I'm proud of you, but you're not going to want to do this. And she told me the other day, thank God, Dad, that you didn't make me do that. I said, I told you, it was just, you need a break at that age. You just do. You play soccer and you it's like working a full-time job and coming home to 3 hours of a part-time job at that
That's
age.
close. That's close to the same age when I stopped, just because that's all it was: school and soccer, school and soccer, school and soccer.
She said she wants to do it, and I said, as long as you keep your grades up and everything's good, we're good. So she's excited. She's going to a new school, being 7th grade now, be there for a year, and then hopefully moving out to where I want to be for where I want her to go to school, and it has robotics and engineering and science, and that's her cup of tea. And
so STEM.
Yeah, that's her. It's a huge STEM high school, and that's where I want her to go, and that's where she wants to go. And they got a pretty darn good soccer team. So
there you go.
My goal is to live and hang with my boys, and enjoy life, and not give 2 flying F's about any drama. No hate watching. I've watched the Christmas episode. It's up to 378 views. Why? Because it makes me feel good. I'll alternate between so I can listen to my 2 departed dogs bark. And I don't care about, I love this hobby, but I love it for reasons that are way beyond the cardboard, to quote Bob Lewis. So, I got a lot of nice shit. I mean, I can sit here and look at this stuff, and I'm beyond pleased. So I'm not, if I lose something, I don't even care anymore. It's like, whatever. I don't care.
So we've all kind of gotten to that point though nowadays, just for a multitude of different reasons.
And I love cards. I mean, I really do. I'm so happy that I got back into them. So please, beyond belief. But there's other stuff out there too. I don't want to talk about cardboard all the time. There's other stuff like food and knives and watches and pens and all kinds of crap. I like going out and being in the garage. I mean, it's just whatever. I enjoy life. I don't want to be internet famous because of cards. I could care less.
Oh, you're such a liar.
No,
that's the whole reason why you thought that it was going to help you to join up with this neurotic, foul-mouthed motherfucker.
Erotic?
Neurotic.
I was like, whoa, where did we go? We just went.
And then this other person over here who isn't paying attention, like
he's making
you picked the wrong set of people to like attach yourself to become internet famous.
I could, you know what? Then let that flower wilt. Let that flower wilt.
So with that, we are going to now give the stage for
Michael,
a card that is that the Bob that you shared on Instagram?
Yep.
Yeah, is that on card, Michael?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this is one of the most beautiful autograph sets that's out there.
See, that autograph reminds me of, remember that Andre Dawson that I sent you last year, Steve?
Yes.
That you could actually read the words Andre Dawson.
Well,
that's that kind of signature.
Clyde.
The Andre Dawson in the set. I at one time I was building this set and had a sizable chunk of it and ended up letting it go. But I always wanted the Bob Gibson back because the photo they used on it is so freaking cool.
That is a nice card.
And it popped up in a Facebook group, and I made an offer. It was a deal or no deal situation. I offered $70. He goes 75, gets it done. I was like, yeah, that's easy. The only one on eBay is $85, and the signature is almost black from fading. And this is bright blue.
Was that Julio, Dave?
No, that was some guy for now he plays for Dodgers. Former Pirates prospect, then traded away to Tampa Bay, and then signed with the Dodgers. Or traded out there. Tyler something or another.
Gotcha.
Glass now.
So,
Yes.
Lots of strikeouts.
So we're gonna end the show with a new segment that may or may not be a future series as we continue this journey of life. But Bill and Bob's excellent stories. We're not going to say excellent.
Yeah. So
excellent stories.
I work with a guy, just to preface, who is the most amazing man ever invented. He's seen more, done more than you'd even, he's forgotten more than you've ever even known. And he works overnight shifts, stocking a grocery store, sells at the local grocery store. And so the story that he opened with was the monster, but then later in that shift, he showed me a picture that he took of two flies. He comes up, he's like, "Did you ever see two flies having sex?" I was like, "No, Bill, I've never seen that before." And then he shows me a picture that he took of two flies on his porch, and he was really really descriptive. He must have watched them for an extended period of time. So that was something that happened. And then he told me, like I said, "Have I ever heard the song Roxanne by the Police?" And he's like, did you ever wonder what that would sound like if Elmer Fudd sung it? And of course I said, no, I've never thought about that before. And then he proceeded to serenade me pretty much like this close to my ear, like whispering it in my ear. So that's the type of guy we're dealing with. But, he's pretty awesome. And so he has been, we talk music, and he'll send me, he's like a progressive rock guy, which is like a lot of instrumentation. He's a musician. He's been drumming since he was 4 years old. And, bands wouldn't let him play with them because he would show up their drummer. He would go to shows with drumsticks in his back pocket just in case he got the chance to get on stage. So Bill is a phenomenal man. But we started talking. He had sent me a couple links to songs, and I'd watch them and then make some, hey, I thought this about that. This was good. That was good. And started, the one bass player, and he knows everybody's names in the band, Chick Corea and Stanley Rogers or whatever. And so then I said, I like the guitar, and he started naming some guitar players. And I started naming some guitar players, like, what do you think about Joe Satriani or like John Bonassim? And then he would give his opinions because he has them. And then I asked him about, have you ever heard of this guy? And real quick, it sounds like everybody's muted, but does anybody know this person?
Is that like a Scrabble hand that you get, or
not a clue?
No, that's Yngwie Malmsteen, according to Wikipedia, Swedish-born guitar player.
The
And
sad thing is, I am aware of him because my friend from college's brother, Malmsteen, sticks out in my head because he played guitar and he was listening to the Satrianis and Malmsteens of the world. Continue, Bob. I digress.
okay, so this. I asked him about. I mentioned this name to him, Yngwie Malmsteen, and Bill kind of goes, "Well, I've got a story about him, but nobody would ever believe me, so I know it's going to be good." And then, unprompted, I didn't say, "Well, what is this unbelievable story?" But once he said, "I have a story about him, but nobody would ever believe me," 1 beat, 2 beat, 3 beats. In 1976, he starts. He was in high school or of that age, and he was hanging out at a local pool and in McKees Rocks, which is like a small little town, suburbs of Pittsburgh, still kind of in the city. And he's the guy that tells you stories of stories that obviously you weren't there, but he talks about and gives first and last names of people that were there, as if I know who he's talking about, right? And so he was there with his buddy Scott. And Scott, I forget his last name, it started with an M, but Scott's dad was a Supreme Court justice, the top of the land. And, they got a bridge and a street named after him in the Rocks. Well, he was at this party, right? And they're listening to music. They're doing what high school kids do. And Bruce Springsteen comes on the radio. And Bill says, I wonder why he never changed his name. Because Springsteen, that's not a real, catchy name to become a rock star with. And his buddy Scott says, "Oh, it doesn't matter what your name is. If you've got talent," and apparently Bill says Scott had a lot of guitar talent. If you've got talent, you can make any name. You can succeed with any name, right? Scott says, "Make up a name," And Bill claims he suggests this name, Yngwie Malmsteen, to Scott. And he is claiming that Yngwie Malmsteen is Scott from McKees Rocks that has been keeping up a ruse for 40 years that this Swedish-born guitar player is Scott from McKees Rocks. And not only that he was the one that suggested this name to him. So I said, that is pretty unbelievable, but so unbelievable, Bill, that it has to be true. And he's like, "Well, I'm just telling you the way it happened." So this guy has a Swedish accent, been known in rock circles forever, but he's like, I saw him on a video. He's like, he's a little heavier, but that's Scott. That's Scott. I have no way of confirming nor denying that Yngwie Malmsteen is actually Scott, whose dad was in the Supreme Court from McKees Rocks. But Bill says that's the way it happened. So I believe him. What do you guys think?
So it has to be true because Bill says it is.
Yeah. Gotta go with Bill.
I mean, yeah, and I wonder why.
Sorry.
So 1976, it's almost 50 years that this guy a known Swedish-born guitar player. I want to know the ins and outs. How did he set up his cover, and how does he kept it this long? How has nobody figured this out in the information age? That this guy's a fraud, and his real name is Scott from McKees Rocks in Pittsburgh.
Maybe you should add to the Wikipedia page.
but-
Quoting Bill.
Bill heard Yngwie Malmsteen play, and he looks like him, and that's how Scott played guitar. So it's Scott. I said, all right. Well,
Until it can be proven otherwise.
you know, I met Joe Grishecki on the trolley once. That's a it's Bill on the pot. Invented pot, actually. So yeah.
So this concludes this week's
Yeah,
session of.
So not only when I mentioned this is a name that was mentioned to me by another music lover. It was like it's kind of one of those things like it gives you some credibility if you like. I'm so into music that I know a Swedish-born guitar player named Yngwie Malmsteen, like, you know. So not heard of him, but he named him, and it's his friend Scott from McKees Rocks. So it's like like maybe you could say like, oh, I saw him in a lobby once and we had a conversation for an hour. No, not even that level of like delusion. It's certainty. Yeah, he named him, and it's his buddy Scott. So yeah, right. So,
Delusion is the
I
right
don't
word.
even know what to say to that. Yeah, I said,
Grin
"Dang,
and
you
nod, Bob.
just missed your
Grin and
chance,
nod.
Bill. You were sitting right there.
Just grin and nod.
Smile and
Grin
nod, boys."
Yeah.
And I like to correct myself. It was Nuno
So yeah, I'll
that I was thinking.
Oh,
not
okay.
Malmsteen.
yeah. I don't see.
I knew I was wrong after a while. I'm like, nah, began with an N. So I am correcting myself. It was Nuno Betancourt.
And what was that?
He was the guitar
Nuno
player for,
Betancourt. That's
yeah,
that's.
he's-
I'll see.
He's for
I'll ask Bill
Extreme.
what he thinks of Nuno Betancourt.
Yeah. Nuno Betancourt. He played for Extreme, the band.
Okay.
So speaking of like well-known guitar players, anybody know who that is?
Is that Zach Wild?
That is Zach Wild.
That's who I thought
just
that
did-
was.
Yep, that is Zach Wild. So just so for context, my buddy sent me this the other day. That's his wife. They were in someplace in Minnesota near Minneapolis, grabbing a bite to eat, and in came Zach Wild. And
Makes
his wife
sense. He
asked-
is a Viking.
his wife asked if he could get a picture, and he like literally put down his phone, stopped what he was doing, grabbed her phone, and was like, well, absolutely, and took the selfie.
He's a hell of a guitar
Yeah.
player.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my famous.
They actually, I don't.
story.
Yeah. I've met a couple people over the years, but all like through my sister. When my sister lived in New York, in the late '90s, they were filming Sopranos, and James Gandolfini was on set, and she was a pretty girl in her early 20s, so like they were trying to keep the crowds away, but she got his attention, and she has a picture of the two of them like on the set of Sopranos, which
That's
is
cool.
kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. And actually one other weird thing, the modeling agency that was doing like chaperoning for the 2003 NBA draft, and she was partnered up with Carmelo Anthony, so she got a couple photos with him and autographs of him.
That's
It's
cool.
kind of cool. Yeah.
Stories with Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I don't have
That
any
concludes.
close
Right.
Next on
Other than
Hockey
the-
Serious.
Well, they're not my story. Like I
Still,
said, I went to see Bruce Springsteen at PNC Park. Vinny might know the name Joe Krashecki, but I don't know if anybody else is. But yeah, so he was on the trolley, like sitting across from me, him and his family, and me and my buddy that went to see the show, and and he had just played like a song with Springsteen brought him on stage to play a song with him. It was like, oh, you were just on stage with Bruce Springsteen like an hour and a half ago. That's and now you're riding the trolley back to your suburb house in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no cool stories. The only cool story I have is my Mark Henry rock story. And just for the record, last week I think it was, Mark Henry was in the freaking crowd on Raw with his son talking about how such a great human he is. And of course, my response to the TV was, "That's a load of fucking shit."
Hey, did anybody see? Google prompted me to an article from some website, but Mike Trout, maybe you guys talked about at the beginning, opened up a box of 2009 Bowman with his son and pulled his rookie card.
Yep. His autograph, his rookie autograph. Yep.
In the first pack.
Wonder if it was.
It appeared so.
It's posted all over Instagram.
It was definitely Wade. Yeah, I mean, it just seemed a little too.
You have been weighed. You have been measured.
But his reaction, like, dude, you are that guy. Like, it just seems so weird. You're him. Like, you could just sign anything and sort of like it becomes, I don't know. It was weird. But an experience for his son nonetheless, if we want to get wholesome about it.
That is correct.
And that's what this hobby is.
Anyways.
Yes. Potato, potato.
Tomato, tomato.
It's funny. Eggs. Bill is in the pancake batter aisle, so I could have very easily just shimmied over to aisle 5 and grabbed some Bisquick.
But then you'd have to go get the eggs and the milk.
Yeah, that'd be a pain. They're all the way down the other end of the store. That'd be a pain.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
All right, Dave. Coming up on 2 hours. We actually turned this into a decent show. Not sure how. Wow, are we actually
it was like
doing something right? I don't know.
More than likely not.
Yeah, well, that's hashtag facts. So remember, no show next week. Again, I will post via community post reminding everybody no show. We will reconvene the following week, probably on a Wednesday, not on a Tuesday. So make sure you pay attention to the placeholder for the date.
It's going to be Wednesday after Labor Day. Because Naomi's, I don't even know how you teacher, coach down in the cities. She texted me last Wednesday. And I'm like, And it's like, hey, just wanted to say, like, really excited to work with Naomi tomorrow, and want to let you guys know that my husband got offered and took a job and as fire and see you later, Michael, rescue in South Carolina, and we will be moving September 8th. And I'm just like, I was just like, oh my God. like I've said, her softball coach quit about a month ago, just under a month. But again, he's got younger kids and he doesn't have kids playing softball, so it's if he's starting to miss like his kid stuff at school because of softball when the kids don't fully invest in the softball, why are you going to do that? It's just so that's one coach she likes, and then this happened. I'm honest. I think Trist had called right after or during, because I think I got the text about 10 to 7. I didn't see it till about 7:30, quarter to 8. And I tried talking with her. She's like, "Well, what's wrong?" I told her, I was like crying. I'm like, "This sucks." Again, you don't have up this way, and I've said it, a lot of support for softball. Again, a lot of it's because I'm sure the weather. When you have 10 months of winter in the year, it's tough to play it outside. So, and Trista's like, "What are you gonna say to her?" I said, "I'm not. That's not my news to deliver. I can. My job is to, when that news is delivered, then what? Then how do we go about things? How do you react? What's the plan from here? Like, so yeah, because she has asked, I think, great. She had the hitting first, did well in that, and then the pitching, and then she was warming up, and she'd asked, "Oh, did you get my text?" I said, "Yeah," and I said, "I haven't told her yet." And like Naomi's like, "What? What?" Like all of a sudden, it's like the mood had changed, and she's like, "What? What?" I said, that's your news. Share with her." And so she said, and I'm shocked Naomi didn't cry there because I fucking was bawling. I was like, this is shit. Again, I get it, but I'm like, this sucks for her because, like I said at the beginning of this stuff, it's her height, somebody she can relate to, somebody that, again, will talk with her as like a friend or a person, and then start pushing instead of always like a friendly chat and trying like having fun out there. She's like, "I don't want to have fun unless I'm doing well and winning. That's when I have fun. If we're not winning and we're sucking and everybody's screwing around and screwing off, that's not fun." So it it sucks. I'm like, I told her, I said, "You got to write a thank you note there. It's got to be something more than like 2 lines. So that's going to mean something to her, and it's going to show you by whatever reaction she eventually has with it. She texts her or whatever, and that again, you're a good person. That this is the appreciation that you want to show, not the bullshit online where everybody appreciates everything because they get something from someone that can boost up their followers or their brand or whatever. Somebody, even though we're paying a healthy chunk of coin for it, you've gotten a lot better because of her and her help and your hard work. But I mean, you gotta do that. I gotta write that too. So, like, but that Wednesday, circling way back to that, for the Wednesday after Labor Day, Tuesday's the first day of school, and I had looked, and Wednesday's her last day of lessons done. So I'm like, okay, 5 to 6 was like the last one on it. I'm like, I can't be doing that. That's me leaving at noon. So instead of doing that, where it's more feasible, we get back at that day probably 10:30, 11. We're doing the Tuesday night one, 7 to 8. So that's me getting back at 12:30 or 1. So that's gonna be a very long day. It's gonna be fucking a long day. So, so Wednesday, hoping to have Brad on. I got to connect with him, do the NFL preview, and then again put that out there so somebody else can try to snipe that before we get on. But yeah, try to go down there, do that. She wanted to right away, and then she's like, "Well, school starts." I'm like, "The first day. You're not. It isn't like you're in a new town, a new school, a new whatever. It's your first day. You'll miss maybe your 7th hour class. I mean, that's fine." "Well, I won't get much sleep." I said, "You're going to get more sleep than I am, and that's key. So you got on the way down, you can sleep. On the way back, you can sleep. I can't. So don't give me the I don't have enough sleep line." I said, "That's going to be the last time you're going to be with her unless somewhere down the line she's coaching somewhere and you cross paths there." But yeah, she had asked her, what do you plan on doing?" She's like, "Well, I really don't know yet." So she's like, "I'd like to get back into coaching." So that's one thing. Yeah, it just sucks when you got the two people that give a shit about what you're doing in the sport, and those two people are no longer going to be available to you. So
I know the feeling.
it's just so I'll probably talk to her, the owner, see what she can do. But that's another thing. She's gonna have a kid. I don't know how many months. So I don't know what that's gonna do with her schedule because she didn't mind working with her, but there's not the connection. That's the thing that I don't want to be like jumping around trying to find a connection. Where right now that connection has been built, and I almost might text the 1-2 afterwards. Like, is there any way you can write something up for her to whoever she goes and pitches with next? Like your experiences with her, so they sort of know the personality that she has instead of like trying to. I don't know. These are the things that keep me up, not cards and not likes and not subs and not YouTube Hall of Fame. And essentially, this is what it is.
Oh, the Hall of Fame keeps you up at night. Don't lie.
I haven't watched your neighbor to the south or southwest. I haven't watched anything from him. I don't even know. I still haven't went through Garrett's national video. I finally watched Joey's because I was like, man, I wonder if Joey went to the national this year. And it's like national recap like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm like, well then.
There's also a video of him and Brad opening a box.
Well, I saw like him and Stoddy they stayed at Stoddy's or they were with Stoddy for a while. So, that's how out of it I am for hobby wise. When I miss people I've talked with, I've hung out with, I'm friends with. If I've missed their videos for the national and we're 3 weeks, it's the hobby isn't really on my dartboard right now. Not even the bingo board. It's not even the dartboard. So yeah, that's the shit that I've been dealing with and trying to do practice with her, and it's not like half hour out there, and it's like 2 hours plus every time. So, which again, I don't care about the time. It's I'm old. I'm getting old. I feel old. Yesterday it was 2 hours of I won't say fast pitch, soft toss, so like the underhand stuff, but I mean, I was trying to give give her quicker balls to hit because, again, that's what you're going to be experiencing. I'd go out and fetch the ball, so that's about 25 a bucket. I'd underhand them back in because if I try to throw overhand, my arm shoulder starts hurting. And yeah, I figured I threw about 200, 225 balls yesterday. And I didn't do any stretching. So, like, when I sat down when I got home, I pretty much felt like I was going to be like a crypt keeper. I was pretty much broken. My knees were hurt, my legs were hurt. Tried to get up, I was like wobbly. I told her today I have to stretch. I thought yesterday I could pretty much get away with it. But I need to stretch, and I need to stretch well. So 2 hours today for pitching. We did a simulated game, and it's just I need to be on the old Centrum type thing there, Gary. To find improves bone density, not bone density, bone.
You're not over 50 yet, though, Dave.
I feel like I'm over 80.
Feeling and being over are two different things.
Not politically, but it's funny. I think it's funny. I feel like how Joe Biden talks.
I get that.
So it's a lot. I don't care if I'm not over 50. Well, I don't need any blue pills for that either, but I need something where I'm not crackling.
I remember I asked my dad a couple years ago. He was, just talking about being old and hurting, and I said, "Oh, Dad, you're only as old as you feel." And he says, "Well, in that case, I died 10 years ago." Yeah.
Anyways,
chessboard, you're like checkmate. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
It sounds like my dad.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel? How does Methuselah feel? Let me know how he feels. That's how I feel right about it.
Old as dirt, in other words.
Yeah.
I'll ask Bill what he knows about Methuselah next time. I'm sure he's got a story.
Let's say, harken back to the Simpsons episode when they're at the card shop or the card show. Flanders has the table of cards and the Methuselah rookie card. I still go back to that. Oh man, somebody missed the boat on that, but that would have been both blasphemous and profitable. So I mean, the walking hand in hand there.
Well, Bob, you do have a couple weeks though to accumulate.
Oh yeah.
For the next session of Bill and Bob's.
Well, I just started texting myself. I started just texting myself so I didn't forget stuff. So yeah, I'll get a little list going.
I'll send you for Christmas. I'll send you like a smaller notebook to just have almost like a journal.
Dude, the man has 11 cats. He snapped a picture of feeding time, like his table. He has like 2 bowls of food for each cat and then one ginormous like dry food bowl. It was literally like, tabletop showcases. It was that, but with like little bowls of cat food all over, dude. I said, "Do you have to do this every day?" Every day. He buys 8 bags of litter at a time. You're committed, my friend.
In one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And need to be committed, yes.
This is true.
He just didn't want to, if he ever comes across a cat lady, he wants to be able to one up her and be like, "You got 6 cats, I got 11."
My hero. Let's get married.
Yeah, the question is though, what if he finds one who has 12? Is he gonna go buy 2 more or get 2 more? To
I'm
shake
sure
this
he'll
one up?
find
Story.
some more.
Of a cat lady who was busy with 16 cats of her own.
Oh, Jesus.
Then
Please.
there was
Dave.
Bill.
All right.
22.
Where's the mute button?
Does
But
he
you
live
get
in
my
like,
drift.
Peterby? Or like the restaurant district in town?
What?
I'm asking Bob if this Bill lives near like a restaurant district.
He better hope not. No, he does not actually.
Okay.
Bill has three cars in his driveway with tarps over them. So
Oh,
And-
this is classic Pennsylvania, baby.
that's right. They all worked within the last 5 years, he says. So they've all been started, should say.
He'll get every one of them running someday.
One day.
Someday, Bob.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think he's mentioning wrap us up because it's just like an old Western film with Snidely Whiplash in the 30s. You see that train going towards the bridge. We're getting perilously close to going off and crashing and causing calamity. So
It's a tough day.
thank you for joining us. Solid discussion. Remember again, about the 8th time, but we're getting older. We need to be reminded. No show next week. The next show will be the Wednesday after Labor Day. So it's like the 4th or the 5th. So put that in your day planners or your, what the hell's it, the old BlackBerry, whatever it is. Type it in your pager for a reminder. Then Bill will have it. So, for Vincenzo, for Steve, I'm Dave. Have a safe Labor Day weekend. We won't be talking to you till after, so you have fireworks from 4th of July that you want to light off. You're doing grilling, you're doing some outdoor fun activities. Be safe, travel safe, do yourself fun. Eat a lot of food though. This has been the IRP. Remember, collecting, great hobby, wonderful hobby. The friendships you forge along the way, that's what really matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.